Welcome back to Tiny Talk. Today, if you're thinking about buying land, if you've ever wanted to develop a community of homes, I've heard some of you out there say you want a tiny home development. Well, this podcast, you'll want to tune in. Sal Benedetto, kick us off.
So first we're going to start off with the most important part is actually obtaining the land that you want to develop, because without land we can't even get this process started.
That's the first step to any development, is acquiring the land. So tell us, how do you do that?
We have a variety of different sources that we can tap into, from people that we meet through networking, through social media, and some advertisements that we run online. We have access to probably over 100 off-market lots, whether it's a single-family infill lot or a acreage that we can put multiple of these homes up, from Tampa all the way down to Naples. So if you guys are in need of a lot, or you're looking for a lot at a good price, we would be able to assist you with that as well.
All right, so somebody's looking for land. Their options are go to a realtor, get on the MLS, or find connections from people who have access to off-market deals, which is a pretty hot commodity right now, given the fact that they can get a significantly lower price since it's not listed on your traditional MLS. Think about it this way. You've got your retail customer who buys something that's listed for everybody to see. You're gonna pay maximum top dollar for that. Then you've got your off-market deal that's kind of like wholesaling. Have you been to Costco? Is a good example of that. You get a bigger amount of things for a little less cost. Well, I think that's a good relatable topic to wholesaling.
Yes.
But wholesaling is not necessarily everywhere. You have to know who to contact and see what their menu of options are. Is that what you're offering?
Yes, pretty much. So we could act in two different ways. If they're in a rush or they want a lot that's on market, we are licensed agents, so we can assist with that as well. Or if they had some more time and they have a certain budget they want to stay in, we can access those off-market opportunities too, basically acting as a wholesaler like you mentioned earlier on.
Would the financing change for that?
For land, I would say financing is pretty similar, but if you're buying a house wholesale, there might be some things wrong with that house that might not qualify for conventional financing, but with land, I would say it's pretty much the same.
Okay, so for land, you can get a loan, you can pay cash, you can sell or finance. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so your first step in, whether it's a single family home, multi-family home, or a development, you first need to acquire the land. Again, whether on the MLS or off market, we can assist with that process. Okay, so now you have this piece of land. It's a raw land, meaning there's nothing there. There's no electrical, there's no water, there's no sewer lines. There's probably trees in your way from building anything on it. What do you do once you buy this piece of land? What's the process like? What are a few first steps that allow a customer to then transition into eventually building a home?
Like you mentioned earlier, I would see if there's any utilities nearby, whether that's electric, if there's city water and sewer, or if we would have to put a well and septic tank in, or also seeing if there's any potential environmental problems with the property that we could address before building the home.
In addition to that, we need to get the surveys, including both the boundary surveys to see exactly what's yours to keep, where we have to keep the home off the property lines, which is considered a setback, where we can create the site, essentially, where these homes will be placed in that piece of land. We need to seek traffic engineering to make sure that the streets going to that lot would allow for the amount of people that will be living there. We need to get the wetland mitigation survey to make sure that it allows for development and there's no obstacles there. So once we got the meat and bones of this piece of land in which we're considering developing, we really know about the land, then we move on to phase two. Depending on what your ultimate goal is, we'll use Tiny C, which is a 57 home tiny home development in North Fort Myers that we are taking control of, that you can be part of as well. You can contact us to learn more, whether you're looking to purchase one or become an investor. We have some some options for you to select from. In our particular example, in this development, once we know about the land, we're moving on to entitlements.
Entitlements are the right to develop what you want to develop on that land. So, for example, if you buy a piece of land that's zoned RF1, for example, you could only put a single family house on it. Now we want to get it rezoned to put 57 platted lots with the intention of putting 57 homes up. We would need to go through the entitlement process to get that property legally zoned to put those homes up.
Exactly. And that process typically takes anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. Really depends how much information you have about the land, how much you understand the process, and who's in your team to be able to speed through all the bureaucracy during the process. So for an example like Tiny C, our timeline's about 6 months to a year, and we really fluff up our numbers because we don't want to let down our investors or our buyers. But we're confident that we can do it probably within 8 months. During that process, what are they doing? They're rezoning, they're applying for a development plan, and they're really letting the county in which we're building know what exactly we plan to do, along with all the proof on why it would be a feasible project. Okay, so they approved the development idea. Now we're moving into the actual details of Miniopolis being able to build this. We need a set of instructions. All right, so we know about our land now. We've got our entitlements. They gave us the thumbs up to build 57 tiny homes. By the way, they're priced at how much?
Starting at 285.
You can't find that anywhere else with Caloosahatchee river access. You've got 5 minutes from downtown. You've got many amenities nearby, and it's an up-and-coming area that has a lot of development orders in the area. All right, so we've got everything taken care of. Now we're moving on to engineering. Engineering is basically writing us our IKEA set of instructions on how Miniopolis is actually going to build this. Every single line on what we're going to do in doing so.
So what are some of the things that the engineer is going to be involved in when drafting the set of instructions for this whole plan development?
So we already know, based off of a site plan that was submitted during entitlements, where the houses are going to go. But engineering is going to tell us how it's going to be built. So that's going to include how the streets that are going to lead to these homes are going to be built, exactly where they're going to be located, what they're going to be built made out of. For example, what materials. That's what engineering is going to help us provide to the county, so then they can review, they can approve, and give us the thumbs up on moving forward with the development of both the horizontal first and then the vertical development of the homes.
So how long does that process typically take?
Engineering, typically for a development of 57 homes, could take about 6 months, I think is a fair deal, because for this particular development, we're using the same model home. So they're really only designing one, and they're just changing the location of it on these 57 lots. So they're really only engineering 3 things: the roads, the houses, and the foundations of each individual parcel. How these homes are going to be sitting on. So it's not that much. It's not that much for them to engineer. That's why they should take no more than 6 months to complete. But then we have to submit it to the county, and they're the ones who review it and say, correct this, correct that. Through the whole process, it should take between 6 to 12 months for engineering to be approved, so they can give us the thumbs up to start building horizontally.
So we acquired the land already, we got entitlement approval, all the engineering's done. So now we start site work. We start land clearing, running all the utilities underground to each lot. And then what's the process after that to start constructing the homes, once all the infrastructure is in?
Once we have what in the industry they refer to as pad-ready homes, then we can vertically build these homes. That means the pilings that they'll be sitting on, because this is a flood zone and we want to mitigate from any flood insurance or any flood damages, and then building the home on top of that, along with the amenities like the clubhouse, the pool, the dog park. We want to build all that out. That's the horizontal development. So we want to make sure that during the horizontal developments, we have everything we need to then go vertical.
Could I reserve a lot now, even though we're still in the early stages? Is that something they can do?
Absolutely. Immediately after entitlements, actually probably during entitlements, we'll get a good gauge on where we stand with the county on this development. We already know we're pre-approved for this, and what that means is we already had several conversations with them in order to determine whether this development is feasible here. And the answer has been yes, with some adjustments. So once we get a good thumbs up, then we'll be able to put together our marketing material that will allow customers to understand, what is this development going to look like? What is my house going to look like if I decide to buy one there? So for the early birds, typically, you have less information and it's more belief. Belief in Miniopolis, belief in what we're doing, belief in the concept. And like our previous podcast, not necessarily experiencing these homes, but understanding that it's something that could fit your needs. Well, you'll be able to reserve as early as now for $100. Nobody else is offering something like that. For $100, you can reserve your lot position and the home that you're going to have in this development. As we start having more success and more proof of concept, it'll start to get more expensive. So if you're an early bird, get in, get it cheap, and get access to it now.
And we'll have that link to that form down below in the description.
I do want to point out, you'll notice in most developments, the early birds always get the best deals. And it's to show support to the developer who's doing those developments. And nobody's really done a development like this. If you're one of those believers, if you believe, support in this development, be an early bird, get those special deals, because we've had quite a bit of interest. And Sal has said it himself, as soon as we have a model home there, it is almost guaranteed that we'll have 100% sold before the development even starts. Just that model home. So get in early, because the sooner you get it in, the better deal you're going to get.
100%. With that overwhelming turnout at that open house, I'm expecting more at this development.
Thank you for watching. We'll have more information on Tiny C, our exciting 57 home development, coming soon. It's going to be released little by little, but the more you learn, the more you know, the more you'll be able to take advantage of what we have to offer. And thank you for continuing to support us at Miniopolis.
We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.